Welcome to the Real Estate Masters Podcast, where we interview the top names in the real estate game. If you want to grow your real estate business, see more podcasts, or get free resources, go to www.remcommunity.com. The only podcast that allows you to directly connect with the guests and many of the highest level names in the real estate game.
You are in for a treat with our next guest. Do me a favor, subscribe to the podcast, leave us a review, and don't forget to go to remcommunity.com to connect with some of the highest level real estate professionals in the United States through our community and through our high level masterminds. Let's go.
All right. Welcome to today's episode. We have Mr. Terry Thayer, founder of Tab Retreat. He's a high level, high volume real estate investor. I'm excited to have him on the line. It's our second recording. We did our first recording. For some reason, it did not quite take. And so we're shooting this for a second time. So Terry out of North Carolina, but he's in Mexico right now. So tell us what you're doing in Mexico, Terry.
What's up, man? Thanks for having me. Of course. Yes, I've been in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico since July. Wanted to get out and get away from all the chaos going on in the States and be able to focus, really. So since I've been here, I've wrote a book, had another course transcribed into another book. So I've got a couple books getting ready to be launched, and ebooks and courses, and just really just spending some time taking a lot of this knowledge and stuff that I've been, had over the last 20 years and putting into something that I can share with people. So yeah, it's been pretty cool. And also, we're grinding during the week, doing our thing, and then we can just kind of like step outside into paradise when we're ready to, instead of having to schedule a vacation, go there for a couple of days. Like vacations when is every day when work ends, or every single weekend, right?
That's awesome. No, that's awesome. I was just talking to a buddy of mine. We do accountability every week, and we just decided to do one day. What did we say? One day a month? We just scheduled it. I think it's one day a month where him and I are just going to detach and just get away from the business, just plan, think. And his new motto for this year, and actually coming into next year, is less doing and more thinking. So I'm guessing that that's kind of what you've been doing there more, and has let you been able to do, is to step back from the business, make high level decisions, kind of plan for the future, and I guess just work smarter on your business, right?
That is 1,000,000% what it is. Yeah, it was. I'm grateful to have a business partner that is, we have different lifestyles, right? We have different things going on, and it works for him. It's like, he is that person that he's like his family, his wife's family is like lives on the same street. They're not going anywhere. So he doesn't move around. His wife works a corporate job. It's a completely different lifestyle. So it allows me to do this part of stuff. So yeah, I'm still working with my team, but I'm able to get into a creative state like I am, as you can see behind me, creative state, and do those types of things. And honestly, I think that really is more valuable than anything when you get to a certain point of your entrepreneurial career, is to be able to get in that state so that you can create and things happen so much bigger and faster, to where you're not just sitting there grinding, working all day, but you're able to make more doing less, help more people, and just duplicate your efforts.
Yeah, they say your best ideas typically aren't when you're working. They're, in the shower or on the toilet, whatever, it's where you're not trying to, I guess, make things happen. It's just like, for some reason, like thoughts just come in your head. And when you can get away and relax, it's just so much, you can make such better decisions than being in the everyday grind. That's why I love being away from my business. My business is in Wichita, as most people know, and I live in San Diego. So for me, it's kind of the same thing. I'm not in Mexico. I'm not on vacation by any means, but I still have that flexibility of not being in the business all the time and thinking at a higher level. And speaking of that, we'll jump into one thing that you're doing. So, like a lot of the people that I have on this show, you've got a lot of things going on. You've got a real estate investing business. You've got an educational business. You've got all these moving parts. But one of the things that I really enjoyed about our last conversation that did not get recorded was your hiring system. So, for me, I've had virtual assistants throughout the years. And for me now, my I don't want to say motto, but the way that I look at hiring is, if it doesn't require someone to be there in person, I would rather hire a virtual assistant at $5 an hour or $10 an hour, depending on what the job entails, to do that job, because I don't have to provide an office for them. I don't have to have them in the office. It's much lower wage, all those types of things. So tell us about a little bit about your program, how you came about it, kind of the ins and outs of it a little bit, and I guess just more about your system and how you continue to have hiring. I guess just your whole hiring method. I thought it was pretty cool last time we talked about that.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I'm with you as well with virtual assistants. We have a bunch of virtual assistants. We have cold callers and admin people, and those, we have a bunch of people overseas. My video editors in Ireland, they're all over the place. But then I have a bunch of virtual assistants here in the US now too, for my education business, copywriters, and another assistant. I have my marketing person, like they're all virtual. So I love to do the virtual model where you can, but sometimes it's necessary to have those people in your office. So, one thing that I've tried to figure out a good way to outsource is, acquisitions, dispositions, virtually. And you know what? You can get some good success. I've known some people that have got some good success, but I truly believe that requires, depending on how you do it, like the way we do it, the way I feel like I've really perfected that model, is to have that culture and have that environment where you're in an office, you're winning. Like it's like the locker room type, right? So like we're going to to practice every day, and we're going to play games, and we're in the locker room with the teammates and stuff. And that is something that I truly believe requires an office environment. Some of these other things you can hire, like I said, a copywriter, a video editor, different things like that. You can do that. Like they're niche to that position, and they're professionals at that. You don't need them in that office environment. Yeah, you have huddles. You're talking to them constantly. We have this beautiful thing called Zoom that we can use, nowadays. But going back to our hiring system, like it's been something that, it's I'm trying to think of how long it's been now. Probably 7-8 years ago. Probably close to 8 years ago is when I really started becoming obsessed with it, because I've been in business now for well over 20 years. I've been in the real estate business for 18 years. Prior to that, I was a contractor, and I feel like before 2008, it was easy to find help. It was just kind of, I don't know what the difference was, but after 2008, it was a little bit difficult. So I can remember just constantly going through hire, fire, hire, fire, hire, fire. Oop, I got a good one. Hire, fire, hire, fire. And it's a lot of wasted time. I mean, it's expensive to hire, onboard, train, recruit. I mean, all that stuff. And it takes a lot of time if you don't have a system in place. So I've developed a system that is like, well, before I developed the system, I was like, I hired this coach, hired this coach, hired this. Like I kept hiring all these different coaches. Like, please give me the blueprint, give me the answer. Like, tell me how to do it. And nobody could truly give me those answers. So I became obsessed with trying to figure out how to do this. And it took a lot of years, trial and error, going back and forth. I would get a little bit from this person, a little bit from this person. But I developed a system that actually, it takes me, on average, just under 2 hours total from the time I post an ad to the time the interview process and everything, just under 2 hours typically per hire with the system.
And that's cool. And one of the things that you do, if I remember right from the last conversation, is you always have your hiring on. Even if you're not looking for somebody, you want it on, because that right person may come into the picture where it's like, man, that person is legit. Like I need to get that person in my organization, even if I don't need them right now.
Yeah, 2 reasons. So yes, for that, I haven't hired anybody in 2 months now, and I keep my recruiting going. The other thing is like, what if I have to let somebody go? What if they quit? What if they move away? What if they, whatever the case, become terminally ill, whatever the case might be, right? And I need to fill that seat. If I'm always recruiting, I might be down. Like the last time this happened was a few months back where it was actually like, we have this system with our wholesaling team. We have acquisitions, and then we have junior acquisitions, follow-up managers, right? And the follow-up managers, they have a certain criteria, certain things that they have to do to earn the acquisition seat. Well, one of my guys comes in and literally in 2.5 weeks busted every record and ended up in that position. I wasn't ready for him, but I was, because I was always recruiting. Within so we recruited him up to acquisitions. So I had to get another person to fill his seat, and I think it was less than 10 days. So all I did was I just went back to my recruiting. You know, I loosened up my criteria slightly in my CRM that they flow through, that scores them, sent them off a message saying, hey, send me a quick video. You know, I've got all these different requirements on that, and got a whole bunch of, I think it was like 12, 13 videos I got back the next day. And we were like, we knew this one guy. He was like, this is the guy. We knew, you know, we know it. Like, we know by that, by these instructions that we're giving them in this 1-minute video that we're requesting, we know exactly who's going to fit into our culture, who has that drive, who's like literally is the right fit. All the rest is just formality, right? We're doing a phone interview, we're doing an in-person interview, we're doing all these things just because you should, right? You should go through all of it, because every once in a while that video ends up like, you meet the person, you're like, oh, this is the perfect person. Then you interview 3 people and you're like, oh, that person went from 1 to 3. 3 went to 1. You know, it does happen sometimes. So, but anyways, we knew it was that person. We interviewed 3 people, just like we always do. And we ended up choosing that person. He didn't have a job, luckily, and was able to start that next Monday. He was like eager and ready to go. So we were like, I think it was like a 10-day or 9 or 10-day downtime where we didn't have that position filled.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
so
it wasn't even that. Let me correct that, because we always start fresh the first of the month. So that person went into the next, my other junior acquisition, went into the acquisition. He earned that, well, like a couple days prior to the month being ended. So it was like 4 days. I had 4 days of recruiting. So really I was like down 5 days of the next month. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. And had you not had the ad out and had it automated, it probably would have taken a good 30 to 45 days is what I think it used to take me to put the ad out, to go through the resumes and all that. So just, I'm going to put my spin on it, and then you can kind of refine it a little bit. So I think your system's a little more refined than mine is, but I think they're very similar. So for those of you looking to hire, especially right now, if you put an ad out on Indeed or any job site right now, you're going to get anywhere from 50 to 200 resumes probably sent your way. I mean, there's people that are probably just going through jobs and just hitting submit. They're not even looking at the job title, right? And so for me, I put instructions, which I know you do as well, Terry. So I put instructions that say, okay, before you submit your application, read this whole post and follow the instructions at the bottom. And then I give them instructions at the bottom that tell them what to do. And with virtual assistants, I go one step further, and sometimes even in-person hires, and I'll have them fill out a Google form that has them rate themselves for different things, answers questions, and then has them send a video. I think that's the biggest thing that I do, that I think you're the only other one that I know that does this, is actually have them do a video of themselves answering some questions, because that allows you to see how they act, see how they interact. It just tells you a lot. Like you can take that video, and it's hard to judge a book by its cover 100%, but you can get a pretty good feel for that person. Are they interacting well? Are they confident? Are they, did they even follow the instruction to do it? Right. And so I guess kind of tell us your process a little bit from A to Z, how much different it is, and what you do to make sure that you're finding the right person, I guess, and you're cutting the work that you would normally do, getting someone in by 90-some%.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we do is, I'll create an ad. There's a whole bunch of things that happen, even just to get to the ad part. on how we create like the perfect ad copy, and then repost it on Indeed. And then I have a way of linking Indeed to this particular CRM that I use, right? So when they go to apply, they're not, I never have to go back to Indeed again. I post an ad, I turn it on, and then when I want to go shut it off, which I don't ever shut it off, but I repost, I start over every single month, the first of the month. So at the end of the month or first of the month, I shut off the old one, and then all I do is just like recopy if it's the same position and start it back up. So there's a way you can just say, oh, start from an existing template or a new one. And I just do the same one over and over and over, right? And so when they go to apply, it takes them through our CRM. CRM, I call it a CRM. It's a system, right? That they come in and they're basically filling out an application, you know, name, all the same stuff that's on their resume. They can add a cover letter, they can add the resume, all that stuff. Then the next step, it puts them through a test. Okay, so it's roughly takes them 12, 15 minutes. It's part of it. There's a small part of it that's like timed like 2 or 3 minutes. And then from there.
Terry and I are both getting over COVID, or actually he's pretty much over it. I'm at the tail end as well. So
yeah, excuse me. Sorry about that.
All good.
So yeah, so there is, from there, they score. And so then for me, it gives a score, 1 to 100, right? So for me, if I'm really needing somebody, I'll lower my criteria to, remember I said a minute ago, to 60. If I don't need anybody, I'm just recruiting, I put it to 70. So anybody that comes in 70 and above, I just go over, I click, all the ones that hit. I put a date, which is the next day. I have a whole script that I just copy and paste. And it basically is saying, you know, send me a video, 60 seconds or less. I'll make it a stiff bullet point video, have fun with it. You know, instructions, right? Like some different things. And then I say, you know, please have this back to me no later than, and I always have the next day, whatever the next day is. It's Friday, I put Monday at 5 p.m. And then I boom, sends it automatically to all those people, one shot, right? So I just click on them. And then in the notes section, I put the date of that I'm looking to receive. So every single morning or afternoon, I go in there at 5 o'clock or after 5, and I see, okay, who sent me a video? The ones that sent me a video, I just put received. The rest of them, it's got like three little lights, red, green, and yellow. If they didn't meet my criteria, boom, red. If they're under the 70 requirement, I just red. I don't even think about it, just boom, red, they're gone. If they are, if I request for a video, I put yellow. If I receive the video, I just write received. And then the only time they end up being green is if I hire them. So then I'm looking at the video. Okay, in the video, did they follow instructions? 60 seconds or less. That's one of the instructions. If somebody gives me 20 seconds, 30 seconds, they can't give me enough to tell me a little bit about themselves and why they're the best person for the position. They're probably not going to fit our culture, right? We're a fun, upbeat, like, you know, I'm not looking for these little hermits sitting in a corner. It's just not our culture, right? It's not, maybe it is for Google or Apple or something like that, but it isn't for us, right? We need, and most of these people I'm hiring is sales, so they need to have that personality, right? And then if I have other people that just ramble on for 3 minutes, you know, and they're just rambling, I cut those out too. They didn't follow the instructions. It's pretty much telling me if they're going to come into my office and they're just going to yap everybody's ear off. They're not going to get anything done. I mean, I just know from experience that's what ends up happening. So there's all these different pieces that I'm looking for. Okay, does this person's personality look like it's going to fit well with our culture, our team, do they have the drive? Do they have the motivation? Like, I'm not really looking for, it depends. I mean, if it's a project management position, obviously they have to have experience, right? But if I'm looking for a call center, I don't really care if they worked at Applebee's for the last 4 years. If the project manager worked at Applebee's for the last 4 years and didn't build houses, I don't want that person. You know what I'm saying? So there's a couple different things. I don't really look at resumes until I'm getting ready to sit in front of them and have an in-person interview, because I mean, it means nothing to me. It's really, for me, the resume is just for a conversation starter in an interview, right? Mm-hmm. So I have a whole thing that I look at with that, and I like how it manages in this platform that I have. And it simplifies it. It's like, if you didn't hit this, you're gone. If you did, you're in. And then, like we were just talking about, if I have to quickly, I'm recruiting, like right now I'm recruiting, I'm set at 70. If something happens, I have to let somebody go, they quit, or I need to bring somebody new in, I dropped to 60. I paid for these leads, right? It's just like our real estate business. We paid for these leads, we're follow up, right? I'll even go back to last month. I didn't hire anybody last month either. I'll go back, hey, are you still interested? You know, did you fill the position? Or not, did you fill the position? Did you get a job? We're still looking to fill the position. And just re-engage with those people and send out. And so I can have probably, 30 in the last 2 months, I could probably gain 30. If I decided today that I wanted to do this, I could probably gain 30 new videos by tomorrow by sending out to probably 100 people from last month to this month, maybe even more videos to choose from. And then we can sift through them real quick and then, decide who we want to phone interview and decide who we want to in-person interview.
Yeah. And there's some people that teach doing like so many levels of like hiring, there's a guy named Brad Smart. I can't remember the name of his system, but I mean, he goes into like doing, I can't even remember how many interviews. It's like at least 5 interviews. And by using the system that you and I use, like most of those interviews don't even need to be done because that's their interview process. Like they need to follow instructions. So I just put out, or my team just put out an ad on Indeed for someone that we're hiring in person. And we got over 100 resumes. And out of all of those 100 and some resumes, there was only one person that followed the instructions all the way through to the end. And so my team said, we found someone. I said, oh, great. So, and so I was on the team call with them and I said, oh, we only had one person go all the way through. Are we just hiring this person because that's the only applicant or because they're highly qualified? And they're like, no, this person is highly qualified, followed the whole process. They actually had some other applications that they kind of saw that, we're okay. But it's like this person followed it through all the way to the end. So that's the person that we want on our team. We want someone that is going to follow instructions, follow through, do what we ask them to, and take it all the way to the finish line. So it just cuts out so much fluff, right? So what else?
Yeah, it really does.
So what else? Oh, go ahead, Terry.
It really does. It makes it so much more efficient for us and for them. And it just, it gets right to the point because look, if they're not willing to jump through hoops to get this position or follow instructions, what are they going to do if you hire them? Right. And most people hire off of resumes and interviews. It's like, okay, if you said 100, I typically get 300 to 600, depending on the month, 300 to 600 applicants every single month for an average position. If it's a niche position, it's more like 75 to 150, right? Like the project manager that I mentioned. So if I were to get 300 to 600 resumes every single month, I'm basically going to be just like, okay, I'll look at this one, this one, this one, this one. Maybe I look at 30 resumes, 40 resumes, 100 resumes. Who's going to look at 300 to 600? I mean, it's just not possible. But that's how most people hire. It's crazy. So they're looking at all of, and then they end up having like these giant HR departments, all these people. Like you can eliminate so many things by having a system in place, or you don't have time because you're a solopreneur, you're trying to scale your company, but who has time to do all that, right? So if you have a system, you can flow through it. So it ends up being a very efficient way of doing things for everybody and really get you that top person. Because if you're looking at 300 to 600, or if you're receiving 300 to 600 and you only look at 30, well, maybe your top person is one of those other people that are in that batch that you never even looked at, but you didn't have a system that kind of funneled them through. Mm-hmm. And then going to your point about Brad, I agree with his system for higher level. If you're looking for a CEO, COO, like a high level type of executive employee, or a person to come into your company, yes, I 100% like go golfing with them, get their spouse together, go to dinner, go to lunches, like spend time with that person, have your team meet with them and interview them, just make sure that, you know, there's not something that we're all missing. See how they interact with other people too.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, team building is something that a lot of people don't talk about, and I think it's. I mean, I guess people do talk about it, but it's one of those things that's not sexy, but it's really important. You know, there's a book called what's it called? The Who, Not the How, I think is what it is, by Dan Sullivan. Basically, what it comes down to is if you need something done in your organization, wherever it is, figure out who can do it or who can get you there, right? Like there used to be, you know, this thing that's like, you know, you need to go in and you need to figure it out and you need to grind, you need to dig in there and make, you know, certain things happen, which is the case in some things. But when you're wanting to really scale your business, you have to look at who can get me there. And when you have a really good hiring system that can fill your who, and can really help exponentially grow your business. Just like you said, it's like, you know, a good hire can cost you a lot of money, but a good hire could just make you a lot of money as well. So it can swing, you know, in one direction or the other based on who you hire. So you just really have to have a good system. So what else do you want to share with our audience, Tara? We talked a lot about hiring and the systems behind that. What else can you share in your 20 years of being an entrepreneur and growing to the level that you have, that you would say maybe are some good learning lessons from the past that you could share with our audience?
I mean, the list, I mean, how much time do you have, right? I mean, it's like, there's so many mistakes that I made that literally, if I could go back to, you know, 2000, 2002, when I got into real estate, I would have cut the curve down to almost nothing had I known now what I knew, you know, had I known then what I know now. And a lot of it really just comes down to like 3 words: systems, processes, and people. And not trying to do everything yourself. Like I used to always try to do nobody can do it better than I can do it. If I can't, if you know, I can't hire somebody to do what I can do, then why am I hiring it? Why am I going to spend time recruiting all this other stuff? So, you know, I think the biggest thing is hiring, making sure that you have mentors, make sure you have coaches that help you cut the time down. Because look, time, right? We can make more money, we can spend more money, we can do different things, but we can never get more time back. So how do we cut time? How do we duplicate time? How do we create a time machine? And it's mentors, what do you call it? Going to different events and masterminds, different things that help you level up in so many different ways. So it's like, whatever you are looking to do, find the person who's doing it at a high level and try to connect with them, follow that person, and do what they're doing so you can cut that learning curve down. I'd be much further along in life had I done that early on. I didn't learn about mentorship and all that until it was like 2012, I believe. Yeah, 2012. And I was like, man, if I could just really, I mean, if I could have done that in early 2000, I'd be in a whole different place today.
Oh, that's interesting you say that, because we got into real estate about the same time. I got in 2001, and it wasn't until about 2010 that I started hiring coaches and getting mentors and joining masterminds and stuff like that. So I wish I would have I mean, if I would have gotten into high-level masterminds and gotten mentorship and coaching in 2001 when I first got started, man, things would be exponentially different. So that's a good that's a good nugget. You know, the who isn't just hiring people, but it's also surrounding yourself with the right people, being in the right circle, asking the right questions to the right people, and helping them get you there. So Terry has a course that he's put together for his hiring system. So we'll put a link down below in the show notes. Any last thoughts, Terry, you want to give to our audience before we jump off here?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's, you know, the other thing is, like, a lot of people that I talk to, it's a mindset, right? Mindset was the other piece. It's like, you know, hire coaches and then change the mindset, be around the right people that are doing it, because it's all possible. Nothing's impossible. So it's like, you know, when you think it's impossible, just go find it. Somebody else has done it. It's possible. So it's, just using the mindset to get yourself to that next place and position yourself to be the person that you want to be, and you can do anything that you want to do.
Totally. Well, I appreciate your time, Terry. I didn't mean to take you away from your vacation in Mexico. Terry's been there. I can't remember if he mentioned he's been there, 5 months now? 4 or 5 months?
Yeah, 5 months.
That's a lot of good time to disconnect and work on your business and have some fun. So thanks for taking time out, and look forward to connecting again. And we'll see you again soon, man.
All right, man. Thanks. Take care.
All right, man. Bye.
Thanks for listening. Now go to www.remcommunity.com to connect with today's guest, see our high-level masterminds, and to get free resources. Don't forget to share this with a friend and leave us a 5-star review. We'll see you on the next episode.